So it's probably one of the most commonly asked questions in K-pop. How much do K-pop idols make? Now it's easy to get a quick estimate from reading the latest Forbes or similar articles, but that only gives you a general view and only for the top tier idols. Very few can give you a full breakdown of income distribution in the K-pop business because mostly companies would rather keep those contract details secret. Well, you're in luck because that's exactly what I'm going to give you. Now the abridged version of the answer is this. Idols make less than you think, but more than you can imagine. Yeah, I know. Well, what does that mean? Well, let me explain. You see, K-pop idols actually have a lot of similarities to professional athletes. They both tend to have relatively short careers, require peak physical conditioning, most of the time, and their financial status is highly misunderstood because most people only focus on the top tier talent. If your perception of athletes revolves around superstars like LeBron James or Cristiano Ronaldo, well, you would just assume all athletes are massive millionaires. But there's a very wide spectrum of professional athletes. For example, you have minor league baseball players, arena football players, professional pool players. Many of these professional athletes make less than your typical office job, and K-pop idols are no different. There is a huge financial discrepancy between a group like BTS and a newly debuted group that you've never heard of. Alright, enough of the intro. Let's get down to the real reason you're watching. You want to know an actual dollar figure. Now, before I can calculate that for you, you'll need a basic understanding of how income distribution works in K-pop. A quick disclaimer, no, I'm not an insider, and no, I don't know anyone who's ever signed a K-pop recording contract. I do, however, know someone who signed to an American record label. You see, a friend of mine from college once signed a record deal as a DJ. The knowledge I got from him, or rather the constant complaining I got from him, combined with the information from previous live stream of two actual former K-pop idols, that would be Jaeho from Madtown and Jiho from MBLAQ. Now, comparing their experience, I can tell you that the basic contract structure seems pretty similar to their Western counterpart. Now, income distribution starts with the understanding of how much a company is willing to pay their artists and if that amount is gross or net. A company can pay an artist via a 50-50 split of the gross sales, but after deducting promotional costs, recording costs, distribution costs, etc., the artist will go home with much less, which is the net income. I bring this up because you may have seen some numbers from Korean blogs and forums that claim the income distribution for a supposed evil company like SM has a 90-10 split, while a sane company like JYP Entertainment offers a 50-50 split for their artists. Well, I can tell you that one is a net total while the other is a gross total, which means in the end, the distribution is actually about the same. This was actually confirmed by Jaeho and Jiho themselves, who were both at one time signed under J-Tune, which is a subsidiary of JYP Entertainment, and they sure as hell didn't go home with a 50-50 cut, as you'll soon find out. Now, I also need to mention that I'm only calculating income from physical album sales. I honestly don't know how much an artist makes from digital sales or streams, since when my DJ friend signed a record deal back in '99, digital distribution just didn't exist. What I do know is that digital sales and stream pays artists next to nothing, because there's just not much profit margin left after recording label and distributors take all their shares. So, let's take a look at the best of the best, BTS. And their album sales for 2020, they sold a combined... What? I just have a hard time getting my head wrapped around how ridiculous this number is, especially in this day and age. But okay, so at 2 albums for 7,068,997 copies, multiplied by roughly $20 on average per album, you're looking at a total of $141,379,940. I'm just going to round that off to 140 million just to make the math easier to follow. But at this point, Big Hit steps in and says thank you very much, as they take half. If that seems kind of greedy, well, it probably is, but too bad, it's their company. But don't worry though, they don't get to keep all of it. You see, most companies will take out the cost of album distribution and retail costs from their own share. But we're not concerned with what they make, we want to know what the members make. So, at 140 million, Big Hit taking half, that leaves our boys with about 70 million. From there, the songwriters and producers take an additional 50%, which also includes royalties. So, minus the 50% cut for songwriters and producers, you're now left with about 35 million. The next thing to be deducted is the promotional and recording costs. Now, this includes things like the fancy photo books, advertising, hair and makeup, wardrobe for music shows, etc. Now, you may be asking, don't idols get paid to perform on these music shows? Well, yes, they do get an appearance fee from the networks. About $100. Really? Yeah, have fun splitting that between the group members. Have you ever seen Twice eat backstage? That probably wouldn't even cover their food cost. Meanwhile, notice that fancy Chanel outfit that Nayeon's wearing? Get it? Because they're singing fancy? With each member wearing anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 worth of clothes and performing in a different outfit for each show for 5 shows a week, a group like Twice is actually losing around $70,000 to $100,000 per week just to perform on these music shows. That's something to think about the next time you want to complain that your favorite group's not promoting enough. So when you take out the 30% promotional cost in recording, you're now left with $24.5 million. Now, as for the cost of the music video, this too is deducted from the artist's share. And I'm glad I get to discuss this one because if your favorite group happens to be in the same company of another famous group, this is where you're going to get into a lot of fan wars. You see, for years, GOT7 fans would complain about JYP spending all of their GOT7 profits on Twice. And then, of course, Twice fans would turn around and complain that they're spending all of their money on ITZY and Stray Kids. But now you know how silly this argument is since each artist pays for their own music videos. Now, back to the actual music video cost. To give you a sense of range of cost, this is the music video for Bar 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 from Crayon Pop. Sure, kind of a one-hit wonder, but what a hit it was. Unfortunately, the video was made before they got famous and thus the subpar video production value. This video cost supposedly around $10,000. And watching it today, I'm wondering where they spent the other $9,000. Fun quiz though, do you know which was the most expensive K-pop music video around this time? Was it EXO? Girls' Generation? 21? No, it was actually Kara with the video Step. A video that had handcrafted sets and a ton of professional dancers for extras. It reportedly cost just over $1 million, the most expensive at the time. I only know this, of course, because their company DSP bragged about it to every Korean news outlet for media play. In any case though, on an average today, you're looking at somewhere between $250,000 to $500,000. So for 2 music videos, higher quality, let's say $1 million total, you're looking at $23.5 million left, split between 7 members, and you're now left with just over $3 million per member. Now for some people that might not seem like a lot for major superstars, but I can assure you, in the world of K-pop idols, that is an astronomical amount just from album sales. And if you start adding concerts, which in 2020 was a bit hard to come by, despite the online concerts and stuff, but if you go by the previous year, 2019, Forbes estimates that they made about total $50 million when you include a full year of concert tours. And that would place BTS's annual salary above people like Steph Curry, LeBron James, Patrick Mahomes, and that's only from their day job. You start including endorsements and even their equity in their own company, you're talking some major ka-ching. But that's the highest end of the spectrum. What happens when you take a few spots down to, let's say, the middle? Mamamoo. A group that's very popular and pretty successful, but just not super level like a BTS. Well, going by the numbers, in 2020 they sold a total of about 170,000 albums, multiplied by $20, you're looking at just a little over $3 million. From there, you take out half from the record label, leaving $1.7 million. Songwriters and producers take another 50%, leaving $850,000, minus another 30% for promotional costs, that leaves $595,000. 2 music videos as well, looking at $95,000 remaining, divided by 4 members, and you're looking at just a tad under $24,000 each. Now, before you go panic and make a GoFundMe page for Mamamoo, as I mentioned earlier, album sales are only a small portion of total income. I mean, Hwasa's recent endorsement deals alone are probably worth a couple million. And that's the thing. If you're not selling millions of albums, and most K-pop groups don't, then for all these other idols, the music is no longer the product they're trying to sell. It's really just advertisement or a calling card for endorsements. It's the idol's image or popularity that is being sold to advertisers, and all the attention the idol gets from you, the fan, is their leverage. You see, only a few select groups can afford to have multiple comebacks a year. So when a group releases a lot of albums, that is not a drag, but that's a huge flex, because it means that they're profitable. And when you see some of the ridiculous numbers generated by a group like BTS, this is a reason so many startup companies continue to launch new idols despite the ridiculous odds of success. They're playing a lottery, a race to create the next BTS, and if you think this is crazy, just remember that Big Hit Entertainment just a few years ago used to be a tiny little startup company themselves. Well, I hope this was informative or at least entertaining, preferably both. If you want to see more videos like this one, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.